Welcome, fellow Mooncats. This is the shadow reading for the month of April in 2023. Shadow readings are a bit challenging. They may even be a bit triggering, and so I want to put that out there before the reading begins, because you have a choice. You don't have to do this work right now if you're not ready for it. Shadow work is confronting the aspects of ourself that are difficult to accept, acknowledge, or even realize. And so this goes back to the theory of the shadow self, which was coined by Carl Jung. And it's that it is uniquely because we are socialized. And I would be very curious to look at animals that have social structure, and see if they also experience this. But for the most part, a wild animal would not, because they're not taught to be ashamed of certain part of themselves. When we are socialized, we are often told that the way that we naturally respond is incorrect or unacceptable or not allowed. And especially for someone who is young, and because humans have such a long condition of dependency. The need to be accepted socially is very high, and the fear of being cast out is one of the greatest fears, because it hails back to a time when being unaccepted, being cast out to be on your own, meant almost certain death. And so we learn to bury the parts of ourselves that we are told are unacceptable. We learn to transform our response to an acceptable response. We learn to change who we fundamentally are in order to fit in with what society says that we have to be. And this is true on many different levels. And then as adults, what happens is that we have these parts of ourselves that we've shoved into the back closet of the mind, that we have closed the door on it, that we have refused to remember is a part of who we are. We have aspects of ourselves that we would prefer not to look at or not to acknowledge. And it is not to say that anything actually is wrong with these parts of ourselves. And oftentimes when the shadow work is done, what's uncovered is that the fear never needed to be so great as it was. And so when we talk about doing shadow work, we're talking about attempting to shine a light where we have hidden aspects or hidden desires or hidden parts of ourselves that have gone unacknowledged and unloved. And that is the real result of not doing the shadow work, is that we remain in fear of rejection, and we remain feeling unloved. And we don't have a sense of that unconditional love that we should have, which is our natural birthright, and which does and is there coming from the divine. So what I'm going to do is begin with an oracle reading from the dark mirror, and this is to help identify or reveal an aspect to consider, which might be a shadow aspect that needs to be worked through. I want to be very clear about it, that this is not about judgment in any way. In fact, quite the opposite. This is about learning to love that part of yourself that may be splintered off or broken away from. Okay, so we're going to have 2 cards to consider to begin with from the oracle. And let's begin with that. Okay. 2 cards came out right away, so that's nice when that happens. And let's begin to look at them. All right, our first card to consider is the child I was meant to be. Now, this card is about connecting to your true self, the truest, fullest expression of yourself. And with this card coming up, it would indicate that perhaps you've been given a false narrative about who you are. Perhaps through the negative comments of parents or peers, you've come to see yourself in a way that isn't true, that doesn't give you your full value. So this card is to remind you to hold on to your hope, because you can reintegrate yourself. You can be whole again and pure again and happy again. And it doesn't matter if negative thoughts and beliefs took you down a negative road. That can be left behind. Just leave it behind. This is a gift of light. And it's to remind you that sometimes when we are cruel to ourselves, we become cruel to others. You don't have to let that define who you are. In fact, the truth of who you are is quite different. And it's interesting that came out together with this card, hiding your true self. Okay. Now the thing about this card is that it is indicating addiction. So again, if this is something you're not ready to hear or confront, this may be a time to tune out. It is okay. If you're not ready for this shadow work, you can always come back to it another time. Okay. The cards had just curled a bit, so I'm straightening that out. Now, addictions can come in many forms. Sometimes we're addicted to toxic relationships. There can be addiction to a substance. There can be addiction to behavior or even thought patterns. There's choices that you're making that are binding you in a way that is leaving you without your free will, being controlled by something or someone else. So it's a time to examine choices. It's a time to return to your true self and a time to examine choices. Now with those thoughts, we're going to go ahead and return to the tarot. And we're going to use the Darkwood Tarot today to find a theme for our shadow reading. We'll start with that. All right, so the theme card for today was the Ten of Cups, but it came out reversed. And so we're going to put that here and talk about what that indicates. The Ten of Cards is the happiest card in the deck. It's complete personal fulfillment in every aspect of life. In the reverse, what it is saying is that it's difficult for you to accept that happiness is real or that it can last. And so when there is some aspect of your life going well, you tend to doubt. You doubt its authenticity, or you doubt that it's going to last. It's like you're looking for when and what is going to destroy this when happiness comes in. And so I want to talk about the three pieces we have together a little bit, because now we have a good picture of what the shadow reading is going to be all about. There is something coming from childhood, from the way you were treated or spoken to, or what you were made to believe about yourself, that gave you a false view, something that belittled you and made you less than what you are. Because of this fragmented view, because of a lack of self-worth, it's easy to fill those gaps with addictions. Addictions allow something or someone else to be in control. And this is why addictions are so powerful, because sometimes we just want to surrender. Sometimes, especially if you don't believe in your ability, or if you don't believe in yourself as being valuable, then would an addiction be able to kind of sneak in there and take over? And it is from low self-worth that you mistreat yourself and you fall into addiction. There's a kind of giving up when you have a low self-worth, and that can lead into addiction. And just complete inability to trust that anything good can ever happen to you. And so that's the picture that's being built here. But the beautiful news is that the truth of yourself is so much more, that you are so much more than you believe. So let's continue with tarot to get some direction here. We see Temperance over the Nine of Swords and the Seven of Cups. Ten of Pentacles and a Tower. Okay. I do feel we've reached the message here, and I'm just going to go ahead with that. Okay. So temperance is required. This is finding our balance again. This is integrating ourselves. And so this is absolutely in alignment with the cards that we've received here. With the temperance card, you're finding your footing. You're finding your true self and ability to stand in your own power. And you're doing this by a sort of mixing of opposites. So we see the water being poured back and forth from cup to cup in that image. And so that is about like mixing until you find the balance. Now, temperance is over the Nine of Swords card, and the Nine of Swords is when we are in such a place of agony, like we are up all night, we're not able to picture anything good. We're filled with negative thoughts, negative dialogue, negative inner dialogue, negative memories and emotions. And these are overwhelming and difficult to bear. And then this is combined with the Seven of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. And the Seven of Cups is a card that says the choices are murky and unclear. And it's the card of illusions. And it's as if to say that in your life, you have been so focused on wanting to attain wealth that you've created this illusion of heading towards that. You're looking for that. You're seeking for this Ten of Pentacles, but what you're looking at as a means of getting there, there's a lot of illusions getting in the way of being able to do that. Now, this is in the upright position, so that's not saying that you can't get there. But right now, there's so much confusion and there's too much in the way. And so you're having a difficult time getting there. Here again, temperance, returning to healthy thought patterns, a healthy lifestyle, returning to a sense of inner balance is going to be very helpful here. Now, all of this leads to the Tower, but that's beautiful in this case because the Tower means breaking through that false structure and being illuminated by the truth. So to have this as an outcome in this case is actually a very beautiful, it's the best thing you could hope for because you're talking about breaking through the illusions. And perhaps this outcome is here on the other side. I'm going to see if I can draw some more cards about the Ten of Pentacles. Okay, so what just came to mind is pentacles don't always represent money. They can also represent spiritual presence and energy. And okay, it makes sense now because I see the presence of the crows. And so we're talking about clear communication between the subconscious and conscious mind. And that's why there's that deep well in the tree. Okay. So this Tower moment, this Tower, when you break through this false perception of who you are as one who is always suffering, as one who cannot have happiness, as one who isn't worthy of happiness, when you can balance that out, return to a healthy perspective on who you are, and reunite with that inner child who is pure and innocent, when you can do that, then does your spiritual abundant energy increase. For some final thoughts on that temperance, on getting to that place of healing, I'm going to turn to the Soul Helper Oracle and get some advice from there. Okay, so I'm drawn to the bats in this card as well, crows in this card. And the bats here are indicating confused communication or distorted communication between the conscious and subconscious mind. And so there's just a need for clarity here. There's a need for returning to the core of who you are. This says, a difficult path is being revealed. Ask for help and learn that we are all connected. Well, no one ever said it would be easy to get through life. We all come prepared to face certain challenges. And it's not surprising to know that your way has been hard if you've been fragmented, if your identity's been fragmented in this way. So this is to acknowledge and to give empathy to the fact that your path is really difficult at the moment. But don't forget that this is also an opportunity. I know that's hard to hear, but this is an opportunity for you to bond with others, to grow beyond yourself, to help each other, and to be supported and to be supportive. So know that you're not alone. There's other travelers in the world going through a hard journey, and that you can always find a friendship there among those who are going through the same thing that you've gone through. You'll find comfort in that. You'll find comfort in knowing that you're not alone. Beautiful. The lotus within you awakes. You are a master in light on high. Oh, wow. So not only is there a need to return to your inner self, but when you do, there's this beauty within, this tremendous beauty, and you are a master in the light of light energy on the other side. When you do this shadow work, it's going to be a very important work for you to do, because it's going to unlock so much for you. And so when we talk about that 10 of Pentacles, that's a return to divine connection, and that's a very powerful return to that. Now, when we have abundance in, as above, so below. So when there's abundance in spirit, there's abundance in the earthly realm too. And bear in mind that your energy will not be able to accept or receive that until you work on your beliefs surrounding happiness and joy. And can that last for you? Absolutely, yes. We want to work on turning this 10 of Cups card the other way around. that concludes the shadow reading for this month. And I hope that it is bringing a valuable message to you that is helping you to work through some of the things that you need to work on. So sending love to yourself is so important here, and sending love to that inner child who has gone long neglected. Sometimes that Tower card is the most beautiful thing that can happen, especially when you have a false structure of belief. So I hope that if this is resonating with you, that you take some time to value yourself and acknowledge what is good in you and reconnect with parts of you that may have been long forgotten. What did you enjoy doing in your childhood? Is there an activity that perhaps you haven't done in a long time? Maybe now is the time to go out and get that done. Do it again and just enjoy it. Even if it's something simple like collecting rocks or seashells. I wish you the greatest abundance ahead on your journey and the most beautiful Tower moment that awakens you to the true beauty that you have inside. Thank you for coming to receive this message, and I hope to catch you in another video.